Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast, episode 159. Dizzy?
Better now after cracking the top off a beer. It's good to be here with you, Rhodey. Episode 159. Solid effort. We've got a huge episode. We've got Steve, Pobs and Ted fishing aboard NED.
The winners of the Calcutta in the Port Lincoln Tuna Classic.
Absolute royalty in terms of guests. It is going to be great to have a chat with them later today, Rhodey.
They won 140 grand.
Yeah, it's not a small prize. The Calcutta got to 200 grand.
Yes, it's a big competition these days, isn't it?
It is huge. It's huge. And we certainly had a spectacular weekend. We're going to talk, of course, a lot about it later on with those guys and do a bit of a wrap-up of the trip that we had. And it was pretty spectacular. Without giving too much away, the fish weren't hot. There wasn't a lot of them. But what holds true in all of that is that these weekends are great fun regardless of the fish caught, Rhodey.
Certainly was, Diz, and there were a lot of people there who have fished in competitions all across Australia and maybe even across the world, and they all were saying how well run the competition is. So it's a credit to Steve and Ash and their committee of crew that helped them out, and how much fun the event is, and we would certainly testify to that, Diz.
Yeah, we certainly would. All right, Rhodey. Well, let's not give too much more away because we are going to cover that later in today's episode. Let's get into oranges and lemons. And look, I'll start. Port Lincoln was a great weekend.
It's a great place, Port Lincoln. The fishing was...
It was more than a weekend, let's be real. It was like
4 nights, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was great. And I think every time you go to Port Lincoln, you have a good time.
Yeah, no, it's all the people seem great over there. Good pubs. The Marina Hotel was excellent. Plenty of options. We tried our luck for a couple of flathead. Obviously, the tuna fishing. I would love to go over there and do a bit of fall driving and salmon fishing.
Yeah,
I think that'd be fun. So there's just lots of options. And as you're boating around there, Tony and Dutchy kept pointing out, oh, yeah, we get whiting over there. Oh, yeah, we get flathead over there. Oh, yeah, we get nannies over there. A few of the other boats got Samson fish and kingfish. There's just so many options over there in Port Lincoln, Diz. It's a great part of the world. Yeah,
they make you jealous when they tell you about all of those different options that they've got right on their doorstep. So great to be down there. Rhodey, what's your orange, mate?
Dizzy, well, as you say, we did have a 4-day weekend in Port Lincoln, and we've got another 4-day weekend coming up for Easter. So that's not everyone obviously had the Port Lincoln 4 days, but good for us, Dizzy, getting 2 4-day weekends just about in a row.
Oh, I know. We're stringing them together. It's great when you can have one 4-dayer into another 4-dayer. It really sort of helps for how you front up to work and all those sorts of things. So no, we're very much looking forward to that. I'll roll that straight into my lemon, which is of course the fact that it wasn't a treat, wasn't a cheap trip to get ourselves to Port Lincoln, was it?
No, mate, and the fuel's only got worse since then. I filled up at 298 cents per litre of diesel this afternoon, Diz. So it's getting pricey to travel, and we're both heading over to different parts of the York Peninsula this weekend for Easter. So we're going to pay the big dollars there.
Yeah, we are, and I think I saw something about like $3.90 in Ceduna or something like that.
Yeah, some of those rural places you get hit, I reckon.
Some of those rural country towns, and of course their expenses are very significant. So we don't pretend to think that it's easier to do business out there with fuel and the likes, but people are certainly feeling the pinch, and I think it would be putting some people off travelling away for Easter, don't you reckon?
Yeah, I think particularly if you're towing like a big boat or a caravan or something really heavily a long way, I think then it might bite certain people.
All right, what was your lemon?
Dizzy, no flathead. Bit flat. We went out for a little flick of the soft plastics with Asher from Recfish on the Friday morning before the competition. You nearly stood on one.
Yeah.
But we couldn't catch one.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. It was interesting, wasn't it?
It certainly was. It was good to get out there early, and there was a trevally and a snook caught, but no flathead. And I think Asher and Levi had a crack in the afternoon and didn't do much better.
Yeah, it was good fun to, learn a few tips and tricks. We haven't obviously done that very much, certainly not in that part of the world anyway. And I think the tide wasn't perfect for us.
I also think it might be just a touch early on in the season for the real peak of it, Diz.
Yeah, good call. So still a lot of good fun. Get out there, flicking a few plastics around, mate. Always some good fun. All right, Rody, we have done the winner for the comp, didn't we?
We did, Dizzy. I put that up on a social media post. So that competition to win the Socorro 10,000 got some really good traction, Diz. Lots of entries. And congratulations to Jaden Daron, who won the Shimano Socorro 10,000 reel. He guessed 5 fish, and we ended up catching 3, Diz. So lots and lots went over.
Yeah.
But like we say, it was a slow year. He actually fished the competition too, Diz.
Oh, right.
I don't know whether you saw that. He was aboard that North Bank, the Weapon.
Yes.
With Cody.
Yeah, nice.
He's from Coffin Bay or something like that. He's from over there, Diz. So congratulations to him on winning that. That's in the post to you now, Jaden. So congratulations, Diz.
Yeah, always love it when we get to hand out those wonderful prizes because they're pretty epic. So, it's really, really good stuff, mate. And
there's also a special edition podcast.
I was just about to say, while we're on to some of our socials and some of the things we did in terms of what we got up to over that weekend, we made sure that we got a fair bit of voice, some voice memos.
Yeah, we just sort of had the microphone out, the little portable microphone, and we got little clips, snippets throughout the whole weekend, and a little bit of the speeches were included at the end, Diz, and we got 26 minutes of the finest across the weekend wrap-up of the Port Lincoln Tuna Classic. So that's a little special episode that you'll have to make sure you have a listen to. Yeah,
good call. Jump on and have a listen to that and give us your feedback. Hopefully you'll get some really good insights to what it's like to get over there and fish it. You'll probably even get yourself excited for next year, I dare say. All right, Rody, let's get stuck into the news, mate.
Rody and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Yeah, there's a bit going on in the news here, mate. Let's start with a bit of a news story coming out of Port Lincoln. So I'm sure that anybody following the news would know that there was a tuna pen that got dragged through some sort of contaminant or some sort of disease that caught the tuna and the whole pen. Mass kill of the whole pen.
Yeah, Diz, I think lots of people are putting 2 and 2 together and thinking it might be the algae, but I don't know whether we've had that confirmed at this point, Diz. Is that true?
Well, I don't know if it's confirmed either. I think I heard something to say that they did some water testing and that there wasn't Carenia.
Okay.
But I don't know whether that was like a suspicion that it didn't look like Carenia or whether that was actually confirmed water testing. I'm really not too sure. But nonetheless, I don't know. What I thought was interesting is like how often would large amounts of fish die when those pens are under tow? Because you'd think that they would be losing some fish.
Yeah, but I don't reckon there'd be a whole pen go because it's such an expensive operation to drag those fish that they just couldn't afford to lose a whole pen's worth of fish very often.
No, absolutely. So it's interesting because there's a lot of discussion about algae in the Spencer Gulf. Port Hughes has been smashed. I was chatting to someone who's got a place at Hardwick Bay the other day. They said they couldn't go out for a swim because the water was so bad, and they really did get some of those, respiratory symptoms that are being reported very, very much so now for people that are swimming in the water where there's the algae being affected. So still plenty of news on that. The stingrays at Moonta Bay.
Yes.
Huge amount of eagle rays there.
What do you think? They were escaping the algae? Is that what people are sort of thinking?
I think that was what a marine biologist had suggested, is that they were sort of ahead of it, but it was, going to they thought it was potentially going to get them, which was obviously very sad. But there was just an enormous amount of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was
hundreds
of
them.
Yeah.
Safe to say the algae news hasn't gone away, and we certainly hope that it doesn't get over to Port Lincoln. In fact, we hope it, starts to dissipate across our whole state. But, if it got to Port Lincoln, mate, it'd do it'd be horrible.
It certainly would, Diz. Now, let's move on to a better news story, Diz. This is something that Levi Nash, who we did see over in Port Lincoln as well, he was very kindly ferrying people on and off the mothership. So thanks to Levi, and Will was helping him out as well, Diz, on the other boat. Will Richards at Wreckfish as well. But Levi's posted this on the SAFTAG fish tagging page. And it's a record-breaking recapture, Diz. So it is a Murray cod there's more details to come, I think, here, Diz. But it was tagged in 2015 and was then re-tagged in 2026. So it had 11 years out swimming around. The previous record was 6, and it was 14.10 long, so 1.4 metres.
What did it have original size?
Haven't got that one, Diz.
1.4 is a beast. It's a huge cod.
Hold on. It measured 1,200 when it was first caught, and it now measures 14.10.
Wow.
And it was caught. This is almost the coolest part of the story. Clive Baxter was the same bloke who caught it 11 years ago.
Oh, gee whiz. Unbelievable.
So a 141 centimetre Murray cod, 11 years swimming about. It's a great effort, Diz. And there's also another one more interesting thing I want to share with you from the SAFTAG tagging. Rachel Szajer, Saja, I'm going to say.
Yep.
She's recaptured the same cod 3 times at Aruna Dam.
Oh, wow.
The first 2 were on lure, the last time was on bait, all within the same area. So I think she's officially calling that Murray cod her pet.
Yeah, she just goes down there and clicks her fingers and it comes up to the bait.
So that's pretty cool too, Diz.
Very good. What else have we got?
Dizzy, we are going to go into a lot of detail about the Port Lincoln Tuna Classic when we get the winning team from the Calcutta on in a minute, Dizzy, but we should race through a few more of the numbers. So Ned obviously was the winner. The angler was Andrew and Pobke, 18.7 kilos for the Rolf Sabaski Heaviest Fish Calcutta prize. High frequency, second, 14.4 kilos. The gambler was third, 14.3 kilos, Diz. And lots of other winners across the night, Dizzy. So Andrew Farrah and Tanya Clark were very worthy winners of the Peter Teakle Most Meritorious, Diz. That was for all their work in the lead up.
Yes, they
with
did
the preparation. They were there doing a lot of work the few days before.
Yeah, and they're great value company. Just really, they do epitomise the comp itself, don't they?
Certainly did, Diz. And Going Grey was the champion boat. Henry Manor, champion angler. No Regrets and High Frequency tied for the champion boat over 8 metres, Diz.
Yep.
So lots of boats getting in on the action there, Diz.
Very good, mate. Excellent. Well, like you said, we'll do a bit more of a deep dive into the comp with the crew on NED, and probably in the fishing report we might cover a bit of the specifics from our couple of days out on the water with Tony and Dutchie. But as you said, we've covered a lot of our little updates.
Did we mention there were only 44 fish caught?
Oh, no, we didn't. But
and 2,100 the year before.
Yeah.
So that outlines that our 3 wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of boats that had donuts, frankly.
And a lot of good boats that you thought were going to catch lots of fish didn't get one.
Yeah, that's right. There definitely was. There definitely was, mate. So a bit more to come on that, but of course it would be great to hear from the crew on NED. And then, as I say, we'll talk a bit more specifics about what we got up to on the couple of days with Tony and Dutchy. Rody, let's get into tackle item of the week.
Now it's time for Rody and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
Righto, Rody, we are going to talk about outriggers on this tackle item of the week. Tony's got a lovely set of outriggers on his boat. I can't remember exactly the brand name. If you are in the market for outriggers, you do yourself a favour getting down to your local marine store or jump into someone who can help you fit them up. But outriggers are just a great piece of kit.
They are, Dizzy, to make you spread a bit wider, Diz.
Yeah.
Get some teasers in the water as well.
Yeah. They're a wonderful concept, very easy to deploy when you're out there trolling.
Tony's were actually really easy to put in and out, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
They just give you more width, I suppose, to minimise the risk of tangles, Diz.
Yes.
They're not essential, and we will hear from Ned. I don't think they fished with any Diz.
No, they didn't. I think, I can't remember whether it was 7 or 8, but they had a lot of rods set, a lot of lures out, and no outriggers. That's an impressive setup, because to have all of your, skirts and your divers swimming well without a tangle, it can be tricky at times, even with outriggers.
Yes, it can. And we actually didn't have a lot of tangles, but I suppose there wasn't a lot of action to bring about some tangles. But you do often get tangles when one doesn't swim right, or you go around a corner a bit sharp or whatever. We did pretty well with the tangle situation, Diz. But certainly if you were starting a boat to do, that sort of game fishing, offshore trolling, you would be putting outriggers on, I reckon, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I don't know how much people are going to charge you to sort of install them on your boat. You want to make sure that you get them right, because you want them out at the right angle, easy to use. So I'd say you'd be looking for a bit of advice, or you'd be down at your local marine shop, as I say, getting them to help you set it up. But you're probably looking at, $2,000 to get a whole kit with, posts and the sort of brackets, the mounting brackets for them. So, they're not out of the realms of possibility for people setting up their boat, or for people that are wanting to do a bit more of that blue water action to get their spread of lures swimming a little bit better. So that is a bit of a nice random tackle item of the week.
It is a random one, Diz, but we'll accept it.
Accepted. Well done. That's good. That's good news all round. But they were timely, because a huge amount of those boats had outriggers. Rody?
Yeah, I would say well over half. Would that be fair?
You
would be in the minority if you didn't have one.
I was going to be saying 80% plus.
Yeah, I reckon that's fair.
Maybe some of those, a lot of those big rivs have outriggers on them, but of course they've got a lot of beam across the back, so you can tend to get a lot of rods in the water. But no, good stuff. All right, well, I don't really have anything else to add for the tackle item of the week, unless you've got something nice to add.
No, Dizzy, I'm happy with that. Let's move on, and let's get the boys from NED. Let's get Ted, Pobs and Steve on the phone.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
All right, Dizzy, we are joined here today by the winning team in the Calcutta competition of the Port Lincoln Classic. We've got Ted, we've got Steve, and we've got Pobs. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Boys, thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with us. We've done this a few times to get the winners on of different tuna comps, but it's certainly always my favourite when we get the winner of the Tuna Classic on. And we're going to start with you, Skipper Ted. So tell us about your boat. Tell us about how they, roped you into fishing absolutely the best tuna comp of the year.
It was a bit of a coincidence. So we'll start off with the boat. It's an air rider, and I bought the kit, and we built it in my engineering shop. And I had a close mate who died just before I started building it, and I spoke to, and his name is Ned, and I said, mate, if you can't come fishing with me, I'll name the boat after you, and you'll be fishing with me every time I go. So that was good. And then onwards from that, it had its 300-hour service, and talking to Ash, I said, oh, this junior comp sounds pretty cool, but don't know much about it. And he goes, are you keen? Do you want to go in it? I said, oh, yeah, that'd be great. But like I said, don't know much about it. He goes, I've got the perfect crew for you, though. They haven't got a boat. Their boat fell through. These guys are awesome. And here we are. A week later with the check.
It's a great story before we've even heard anything about the fishing. Your mate's story and naming the boat after him is great. Building your own boat. Steve, do you know if anyone's ever built their own boat and then gone on to win the competition?
Geez, I think it's the first I've heard of, but the sentiment behind it, the meaning behind it, you're pulling back tears when you think about it. And I remember during the event, Ted was saying, come on, Ned, send us some luck. Send us something from above, mate, because we were on donuts. We were catching nothing.
It was a tough year, wasn't it? So we'll get into that in a little while, but it is an absolute weapon of a boat. I saw it in the shed before we started on Friday night, and I knew it was going to do some damage if there was tuna out there, and well, it ended up being the case, guys. So congratulations. Now let's throw over to you, Pobs. You've done some damage on the tuna over the years, and I'm led to believe you were the one that reeled in the winning fish. Am I right?
Yes, you're right there. After a bit of competition with mate Steve, like always.
Give us the rundown. Give us the story of the fish and what happened. Tell us about the lure. Tell us about how the weekend had gone up until that point.
Yes, well, we were wondering where to go, chasing tuna all weekend. Probably hadn't had a fish on the board until probably late in the day, probably 4 o'clock. Hadn't had a strike, nothing, hit any lures. What do we do? Went down to Low Rocks, last sort of fish of the day, and managed to hook one down there that sort of contended. Well, got one for the contender, but I was like one fish all day.
So this was the Saturday, one fish?
Yeah, one fish on Saturday, which, we were happy we got one in the end because it was looking pretty slim from there. Next day, we sort of went out doing the same sort of thing. Just thought we'd try something a bit different. Went to the same spot thinking maybe that they might still be there. Didn't really have too much luck there. They went down South Neptune, chasing it a bit more. Still nothing down there. Thought we were going to get nothing again all day. We'll shoot back to Low Rocks and try that late bite again. And we're trawling past there. And we're like, it was right about here. Then all 3 or 4 rods started screaming all at once. So from getting not a bite all day to all at once in the last hour. And then there was a bit of banter. Steve might want to have some input here because he was hooked up to a fish.
I lost mine. I like the first one.
And then through that battle, Steve was sort of pulling one in. He was pretty happy with his fish.
It was a really good fish. It was on the Tiagra, so the reel was making a lot of noise during the fight. And they are my favourite thing to catch fish on because the drags are so smooth and you can really muscle the fish in confidently. So I got that fish in and it was 97 centimetres to the fork. And that could have been third or fourth longest.
Very well contender fish.
It was an absolute contender fish. It was fat. And the fact that it came up so easy, I thought Pobs was being a bit of a bitch.
Pobs, tighten your drag up. I was like, no, Steve, this feels all right. Just sit back down and just wait. But it was pretty funny in that hookup. What did happen is there was 3 people on a fish, I believe, and then I was just clearing the lines, and then we had one up in the shotgun, just floating out the back of the boat. So the winning fish ended up hitting a stale lure, just sort of floating on the surface. So we trawled around all weekend for no reason. You just got to fly out the back of the boat, apparently.
That's where we went wrong, Diz. We kept moving the lures. We should have just let them sat still.
Do that. Just let it float out the back.
So I've got video footage of I was hanging out the cabin window because I had to keep driving the boat so we didn't get sucked into the rocks. And the first time Pobs' fish came up to the side of the boat, I finally had the respect for him that he was actually angling pretty hard. That was a massive fish, and it's taken a look at the boat and just screamed off for the sunset. And that's when we knew, like, we cannot make a mistake.
Yeah. They were that cautious about it. They did the double net sort of job, like a clam sort of as they came in on the fish, just making sure it didn't get away. Very happy with their net job.
Yeah, it was epic because
the story that lose one at the side of the boat. So
yeah, and you definitely don't want to be you don't want to have that story on potentially the winning fish. So you did do a wonderful job boating it. It was great having that footage up on the screen at the pub on Sunday night, and I'm sure you got to relive that special fish, but so did everybody else, and it was a wonderful thing to see. And Rhodey, we actually did see Pobs battling that fish live on the water. We were about 5 minutes behind potentially catching that winning fish. So whilst, of course, we are thrilled for the crew of NED, we were very, very, very close to having that fish ourselves, mate.
Yes.
I'm sure you were. Stationary lure.
So you were trolling. That was what was wrong.
Yeah, I know. We stuffed that up, didn't we? We certainly did. Now, did you know when you caught it that you'd won?
When I seen it down deep, I had a good feeling that I was a good contender. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, it was a.
And when Steve got his, I was like, yeah, this is definitely bigger than Steve. So.
Yeah. Nah, it was an epic fish, absolutely no doubt. Now, tell us, guys, I know it was a very successful weekend. We all had lots of fun, but there was less fish caught overall. Have you guys got a theory on that?
Like, Pobs is 9 years into fishing this event.
It's been different every year. Yeah. There's been similar years in a row that are similar, but it's always been different every year. There's no real pattern, you could say, involved with the tuna. Definitely a lot slower this year. I'm not sure if it's just because we've had a few storms that go through, but the water did look pretty sort of cloudy out there. Probably not ideal fish conditions. I don't know what you could take from that. It was sort of the fish were going deeper and staying down longer. They weren't really staying up on the surface of the water. A lot of people had trouble catching them on the surface. Some people were using baits to try to target the fish down a bit deeper, which they had some success with. But, yeah, just different fishing, really.
Very good. So, Pobs, you've done 9 events. Steve, how many for you?
I think this was my 6th. 2020, that COVID year was my first one in my own boat.
Yeah.
And I remember doing the shotgun start, and we were just charging out to sea, not knowing what the world was going to be like when we returned.
Yeah.
I think that's what hooks you, doesn't it? The shotgun start, that first adrenaline sort of rush before the comp, and then you sort of, I found myself hooked from there on, I reckon.
And Adrian, your 4th crew member who couldn't join us, how many has he fished?
I reckon this is his 3rd over the same period of time. He was in one of the early ones with us. And then he had a break for a couple of years, but he's well and truly hooked now, and part of the committee for running it and organising it. It's got some great ideas, so we're really grateful to have him on 2 fronts.
So plenty of experience in the boat, and then Ted, you rolled in first go and won the big prize.
Yeah, it was just, like I said, it was a coincidence. Everything fell in line thanks to Ash, and these guys are champions. Seeing Pobs set 8 lures out the back of my boat with no outriggers, and we might have had 2 or 3 tangles for the 2 days. He was, pretty awesome. That was pretty cool to watch too.
Yeah, epic. And after that first year and taking home the prize, mate, I don't reckon they'll let you get off too easily next year. I'm sure you'll have the boat back.
I hope we get the call up again.
Now, Ted, you did mention about building your own boat. Tell us how long that took. Can you describe the size of the boat? Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so it's called an Air Rider, Global Marine Design, it's made for developed from Global Marine Design, and then you buy the kit. And I had a little engineering business, and bought the kit, and we started it. You have to build a frame, obviously, and it sort of took 4 years overall. Like, it was weekends and after work, and then we got pretty close, and then like the last 3 months I just sort of said, righto boys, and had one of my employees sort of working on it for the last 3 months just to get it finished, so it was out the shed and done.
And what does that mean when you buy a kit? Are all the bits like cut to size, ready to weld together, or how does that work?
Yeah, in the kit it comes as a flat pack, so there was like 9 sheets of aluminium, and they are router cut, just with little bits holding them in the sheet, and then you just nick them out, and it all just comes together. You have to do a little bit of trim, but it all just comes together pretty good.
Need a good welder.
And someone who knows how to weld, I suppose. Yeah, helps.
Epic, and you've loved it, Ted. What else what other sort of fishing do you do in it?
Mainly fish out of Coffin Bay, and I sort of target nanny guy, sharks, gummy schoolies, sambos, and the odd. I thought kingies and tuna, obviously, and a few whiting if we can.
Yeah, Epic. You've got a lovely part of the world down there, and I've got no doubt that you do very well on the fishing. Thanks for giving us the rundown there, Steve. I'm keen to throw to you, mate. It was a very successful comp, a huge amount of money raised, great prizes, a lot of money gone to charity. Give us a bit of a wrap up. I'm sure you were incredibly happy with the success of the comp.
We've never had so much positive feedback from the entrants. Ashley and I have been getting phone calls, messages, emails, and this is our 4th year of running it, but we've never had this level of support and gratitude, and people that have fished comps all around the world to tell us that this is a world-class event just blows our mind, because we don't do it for that reason. We're doing it for ourselves so that we can fish in it. We want everyone to have a great time, but the standard that we're at the moment is really impressive, and there is that whole committee to thank for that. But each and every individual that rocks up with the right attitude, we had 200 people there to have the best time of their lives. And I think a little part of this year is how close we came to cancelling. 3 or 4 weeks out, the fuel situation, week and a half out, there's a few boats a bit worried about being able to get fuel, a few people getting declined, getting service. And we just, what we saw was Ash truly lift above and beyond what anyone could have expected for his self-sacrifice in getting each boat fueled up, from the ribs to the travelling trailer boats. The poor bloke was never at home. He was always carting fuel and helping people get ready for this event. So that final week's anticipation of it going from nothing to something, people didn't care that there weren't many fish around. They didn't care that there wasn't many reports. Everyone was coming no matter what to go fishing. And that came to light Friday night. Friday night's Calcutta auction. Number one focus is charity. What can we give back to the community around us? In the years gone by, it was 5% of the Calcutta pool. Ash and I changed it to 10%. So at one stage, that Calcutta pool was 198 grand organically from the 30 boats competing against each other for bidding. And then out of the blue, Ralph Zabaski's come up to us, put another $2,100 out of his own pocket to get us over the 200K. So $20,010 straight to charity. What other event can do that in one night?
Yep, so that's epic to raise so much money for variety, and great to see such a great, and like I think for you guys, the great thing is it was actually a slow fishing year, but the feedback you've got and everyone's heard is just, as you say, everyone got around it despite it being a bit of a slower year on the fish, so that's great to hear.
So then it becomes more of an angling competition, and the 10 kilo line class is already very difficult to learn. It is difficult to fish with the stretch, dealing with your bust off, setting your drags right. It's already hard. And then when you have a bit of a bite that's shut down, Sunday night's presentation night and getting all those skippers and anglers up on stage, giving them an opportunity with the microphone to learn how they adapted. Because what I saw over the 2 days is there was boats that gave up and they went jigging for nannies, Samson fish. They're having a wow of a time, but they gave up. And then on the other end of the foot is the ones going, hey, I'm here for a tuna fishing competition. It is tough, but we're going to figure it out. And Pobs' stationary lure, it's not mainstream. But then
it might be mainstream after this.
And the guys that did their pilchards on a small weighted line, they were using spot lock on electric motors. Like, these are techniques that are not normally deployed. It's different. And I could not be prouder of them fishing through the conditions and getting a result like that.
Yeah, it's doing something different in a comp. Like not the normal trying to find the fish, trying to find out why you're not getting a bite. It's a totally different, different way of fishing.
And the rewards were there for the guys that did try. And it makes me really proud to run an event where, number one, Ted, the underdog, never fished on the boat with this crew before.
Just want to put it out there, Steve toured around all weekend, and then Ted grabbed hold of the wheel, and that's when he caught the fish. So I think it might just be rough.
The truth comes out.
I did not feel very good when Ted had the.
If I was driving, Steve would be always like, too fast, too slow. It's a very friendly sort of thing we've got, Steve and I.
The banter is what it's all about, no doubt about that.
And everyone got back safely. That's from an event organiser perspective. You got 30 boats charging out to sea. You want to get 30 boats and their crew back. And this year we actually had some mechanical breakdowns that were that significant. The boats needed to be towed in. And if you're listening, SA Water Police, a huge thank you for being present during our competition. We liaise with the crew every single year about where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, and they were able to actually make the trip this year and be a part from the shotgun start and for the 2 days. And then we actually 1,000% needed them for a tow-in.
That was excellent. That was incredible.
Incredible. Yeah, just
took the pressure a bit off Steve and Ash running the comp, very out helping other people sort of fish as well, and having them there to be able to tow something in need rather than getting pulled away from the comp was excellent.
Yeah, because that would have ruined someone else's weekend if the cops weren't there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they were there for just helping us, which was great.
Yeah, just a presence. And, there's other boats with, I can't remember, I'm not very mechanically minded, but oil spraying everywhere in the engine rooms. There's breakdowns, there's things that happen, and there's a lot happening. There's a lot of moving parts.
There's a bit of constant banter that actually over the radio saying, hey, I might have a problem with the boat.
Yeah, that's right. He's fixing boats.
Trying to fish the comp, but last year we sort of wound him up a bit. Pipe warmers back and ready. That means the pipe ready to go yet or what? But he loves that sort of stuff. So.
All right, now, boys, we've got to ask, what lure did the damage?
Pobs.
Oh, well, a speed donkey did on the surface, but I reckon any lure might have done the damage. I'm not sure if we're getting them anymore, are we?
No, they've shut. A official word from the Cody spot on Port Lincoln is the Xeric Speed Donkey is no longer in production. And Pobs is on his desk here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 of the last stock that he's going to send on.
Just making sure we got a bit of stock.
Yeah, that's impressive. And, you can always go up to somebody in a tackle store and ask them, how well do they swim, et cetera, et cetera. Now Pobs will just say, I don't really care how they swim. You just throw them and leave them floating on the surface.
How do they float? Doesn't matter. But it's any speed. The lure is a really good question because Pobs and I have fished this comp so many times. It's very regularly a different lure that is getting the success year on year. So last year we had a lot of strikes on skirts, one little pink one in particular.
Well, it was funny, day one, we had both strikes on a skirt day one, and then the next day we we had skirts out. At least we had 2 skirts out all day. Didn't have a hit on the skirts and got done on some deeper divers. Your little one wasn't a deeper diver.
Yeah.
It just happened to be the donkey was just floating down the back on the shotgun just because I put it out because I do that every time.
And poor Ted in his first comp probably didn't have all the gear. And
we had all the gear, but we had no.
What was that? What have you told us a few times, Ted? About how much?
Oh, I'm just blown away the amount of gear that Pobs and Steve had. Rods, reels.
Ted was saying if you were unhappy with a lure, you just throw it right out and keep going.
Insane amounts.
But Pobs, to his credit, I've never seen anyone fish as hard as this bloke. So he was changing lures constantly throughout those 2 days, different colours, different depth divers in different positions. And the 8 lure spread out of a trailer boat is beyond belief, but he does it over and over again, trying to elicit that bite. He's so busy on the deck. So the fact that he came up with that winning combination eventually, we truly owe so much to Pobs and his ability to just stay focused on that deck. Done, Pobs.
Mm-hmm.
Very good, Pobs. 8 lures in one spread on, as you say, no outriggers is an epic effort. And we tried to do the same. I think lots of boats did, mix up the lures. It was one of those years where it wasn't just going to be, trolling anything and you got a fish. But testament to you guys, whatever you did paid off.
We're so proud.
Now, guys, we have to look forward to next year. Have you finished wrapping up the 2026 event and starting to think about next year, Steve, or still a bit more pack up and stuff to go?
There's so many news reporters and newspapers and radios trying to cue in interviews and being a part of it, which is awesome. That's a lot of fun for Momentum. The sponsorship feedback this year has been brilliant, so we're going to start stirring them all up for next year's event. I have looked at the dates, and I reckon it'll be about the same weekend in March for that new moon, 19th, 20th, 21st. And what we had this year on the Marina Hotel front for our briefing night and our presentation is we are at capacity. 30 boats, 200 people. It's standing room only to a degree. These 30 spots for next year are going to be hotly contested and fill really fast, I hope. So, yeah, we'll get the entries out ASAP. The committee's fired up because we had such a great year. Let's copy everything. Let's try not to change a single thing. And let's repeat for that 21st anniversary. There's no expectations for the prize pool. The charity piece, the girls raised another 22 grand in raffle ticket sales over the 2 days. So 42 grand for them. If the Calcutta drops a little bit, hopefully we can still help them to raise a lot of money in other means, but I don't think we're going to get any change from 10 grand for our Calcutta bid for next year. Ned will be back.
Ned's
entry
back.
number 1, confirmed.
Yep. Love it. That is wonderful news. You've got a fair bit of prize money there, so if you need to tuck away the Calcutta and a bit of boat entry for next year, I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Guys, it's been fantastic having a chat with you about how you landed the fish, bit of a wrap-up of the weekend, and you've all been wonderful contributors to this podcast. So thank you very much for coming on and having a yarn with us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, man.
Dizzy, that was good to hear from the winners, wasn't it, mate?
Oh, it was, mate, and there's a definite element of jealousy there. We weren't far behind them.
We certainly weren't. But I think everyone who was there on the weekend would say they were very worthy winners. Steve does a hell of a lot of work in organising the event. Adrian, who wasn't able to join the podcast, has gone on the committee as well, so he's contributing to running that event too. Pobs has fished a hell of a lot of years and he's a ripping bloke. And Ted was a great participant, a great newcomer to win, and had a really good story behind his boat, Diz. So all four of them were worthy winners.
Yep, good call, Rhodey. And they fished hard. Like they did genuinely fish, every minute they had available to them on the comp. We saw them out on the water because we fished it just as hard. They came up trumps, obviously, taking home the wonderful prize. But, that's part of the fun.
And a big thank you again to Steve and Ash and everyone who was involved in running the comp. It was very professionally put together weekend, Diz.
Yes, good call, Rhodey. All right, mate. Well, let's get stuck into the fishing report.
Rhodey and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
All right, so I think what I'm going to start with here is just a little bit of a wrap-up of our fishing.
Yes.
In terms of what we got up to over the couple of days down at Port Lincoln. As you said, being on the boat with Tony and Dutchy, who they do exceptionally well on the fish.
They do, Dizzy.
They don't miss out much down there.
I had a little look in Tony's freezer and there was a lot of Nanagai and whiting getting caught.
They don't seem to miss out. They go out on Dutchy's tinny if they're going in the bay chasing whiting, and they go on Tony's beach if they're going out doing the blue water stuff for nannies, flatties offshore, whiting, sambos. They're going to the shelf sometimes. They do it all down there, mate.
Yep, Diz, and we should touch on the boat. The beach was a beautiful ride.
Oh, mate, it's an absolute weapon.
It handled the conditions. Mind you, the conditions were good.
Conditions were beautiful, but still, mate, incredibly comfortable. Tony doesn't go anywhere slow.
No, and there was
it's built for speed.
There was a little bit of fuel burnt over the weekend, so we'll say we played our part a little bit in this fuel crisis. But anyway, these things happen, Diz.
Yeah, it's just great fun. Just great fun being on the boat with them. They clearly fish a lot together. They're well sort of oiled machine, if I can put it that way. They know what they're doing. They know where everything's on the boat. It's incredibly well set up.
Yeah, it was well laid out. Everything was in the right spot.
Everything
he
was
had a
where you
system
need
for everything. He had tubs and trays and everything was well organised. He didn't carry a lot of crap that you didn't need.
No, I think everything that sort of came out got used, or it certainly got threatened to use.
And obviously you bring heaps of lures because if it's a busy year, you might need more or whatever else. But everything was really well set up on the boat, Diz. And we should talk about where we went and what we did.
Yeah, well, I mean, where didn't we go is probably a better way to talk about the fishing.
Yeah, so the first morning we headed to Fishery Bay.
Yep.
And around Liggy Island.
Yep.
What would we say there, Diz? Lots of dolphins. That actually almost looked the most likely of the whole weekend.
It did. We sort of got there and there wasn't a lot of action, but as the sort of, as the sun genuinely got up, we started seeing a bit of activity. We did think that we saw some tuna jumping at some point, but
plenty of birds, plenty of dolphins. It looked lively, but no fish after a couple of hours, Diz.
Yeah, we did. We gave that a bit of a crack too. We sort of covered a lot of ground out there. Then we went to Liggy, as you say, had a cruise around there, looked around both sides of the island. We'd sort of had a bit of intel that there might have been a patch of fish there a few days or a day before. Couldn't find them there. We went straight from there to the patch.
Yeah, and we gave that another good crack, Diz. Probably 3 or 4 hours trawling around the patch.
Yeah, we did, and there were a lot of boats at the patch.
And there were fish caught at the patch.
Yes.
But as with everywhere else, it was pretty hard going and they were few and far between. So good to give it a go, Diz, because I think they said quite a lot of years the winner has been caught at the patch, Diz.
Yes, that's right. While we were out I think it was at Fisheries still, we'd sort of had like 1 or 2 reports come in of people catching fish over the radio, and they were getting them at South Neptune's.
Well, we thought, because you don't actually really know necessarily. Oh, no,
well,
they were putting...
You have to be eligible for the prize, you had to call in where you got that
too.
fish.
Yeah.
And so there were a few people saying that they were catching fish at South Neptunes. We hadn't had reports from basically anywhere else, and they were coming in very few and far between. It was clear pretty early on that there wasn't huge amounts of fish being caught at the patch, wasn't huge amounts of fish really being caught anywhere. And then I think it was at the radio schedule, which I think was about midday, that there was an enormous amount of boats that called in zeros.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there was heaps of them.
Like a very large majority,
Probably
I'd say,
25
of the
out of the
boats
30, I reckon. There would have only been 5 fish caught the
called
morning, I
in
reckon.
zero. That's right.
So we went to South Neptunes and followed the reports.
Yeah, we did. We went to South Neptunes, and basically what happened, as we said, Tony and Dutchy fished there quite a bit. I think Tony must have said, we usually get them off the sort of edge of the island that we've just trolled the lures past, or we get it up on this corner here, which we were probably like 50 metres or so away from. And basically, as we got to that corner, bang, one of the rods went off.
Yeah, it was a good fish diz. You pulled it in, probably went, I think we caught 3 fish over the weekend. They were all like 88 or 89.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
reasonable size.
They were all sort of just shy of 90. Winning fish was over a metre and 7 centimetres.
Yeah, and I reckon you got that on that bigger yellow, green, white skirt, I reckon, Diz, that one?
Yep. Yeah, it was. They ended up catching 2 fish.
That did. And that got us a bit of excitement, Diz. We thought we might have been on. We then got another hook up pretty straight away afterwards.
Yep.
But that was a big salmon, and we probably caught 5 or 6 salmon soon after that, didn't we?
Yeah, there were quite a few schools of salmon lurking around, and they were actually, like, they had some pretty good workups with some bait. There was obviously a big schools of salmon smashing some bait. So we dragged the lures through them, thinking there could have been some tuna at the bottom of them, but we sort of just got plagued in the end by some salmon. So then we were sort of joking that we were at the Port Lincoln Salmon Slam, and we were going to take the winning prize because we'd had some decent salmon hit the deck. But they all went back in and we kept fishing. But that basically wrapped up our day.
Yeah, it did. It was day one done and dusted. So we were into Taylor's, around Taylor's Island for a couple of espresso martinis, which really hit the spot, Diz, and then pasta on the Tacoma mothership.
Popey has some serious hospitality credentials on that boat.
On the Vatican, it was they looked after us. We did raft up with them and had a couple of espressos at night, a nice warm coffee in the morning.
Yeah,
all the facilities in the world. Diz, beautiful boat too, the Vatican.
Incredibly well looked after. So, no, that was great. Good night. Got on there, had a feed, had a few beers. Eventually got ourselves to bed, got back, got stuck into it the next day, and we went straight to South Neptune.
We did, Diz. Day 2 was largely spent at South Neptune. We got 2 fish straight away. Within the first 25 minutes, we had 2 fish done and dusted. Again, probably 88, 89 centimetres, and we thought we were a sniff then, Diz.
Yeah.
We knew not many had been caught on day 1, and at that stage, we thought we were on a bit of a heater, Diz. And after that, it was quiet.
It did. It went really quiet.
Yeah.
And we decided to drag lures basically from there all the way to Low Rocks.
And that was quiet too.
It was very quiet. We didn't see any action really. We obviously dodged the marine park on the way.
We saw a big shark actually, Diz, at South Neptune's just before we left.
Did see a big shark.
Yeah.
That was well spotted by Dutch.
It was.
Nothing wrong with his eyes.
Yep.
He's obviously eating his carrots.
Then we rocked up at Low Rocks just as the winning fish was being caught, Diz.
We literally did. We had the lures out. We saw Ned. They'd stopped. We thought maybe they've stopped because they're finding a fish. They were. And obviously you've just heard the story from the guys aboard Ned, but we were that close. And then, geez, we fished hard around Low Rocks for the rest of the comp.
Yeah, so that was probably an hour or two getting in. We got in really close into those rocks where we thought there was definitely bait busting up, but didn't catch a tuna there, Diz. And
skip it incredibly well. I mean, I'm not sure that with you behind the wheel, I would have felt as safe as I did with Tony getting that close to the rocks.
No, mate, if it was me, it would have been like 500 metres out from those rocks. They were nasty looking waves breaking.
He knows the water exceptionally well, and he skipped the boat brilliantly. It was good fun.
And that was that, Diz. We shot back into Port Lincoln, a nice ride in. The weather was beautiful, and cleaned ourselves up. Went to the pub, found out we didn't win, which we knew by that stage.
Yeah, and we just sort of drunk our sorrows away.
We did. We didn't get quite as out of hand as we did a couple of years ago. We didn't. We kept it quite respectable.
Yeah, But no, it was great. It was a great weekend. And like we said at the top, jump on to listen to the voice memos about a few snippets from all the way from leaving Adelaide to all the way covering off the drive back to Adelaide. So you'll hear everything in between those two bookends of the weekend. All right, Rody, what else? We're just going to quickly cover off on some other stuff in the fishing report. Everyone knows how well the season has been for blue swimmer crabs.
Yeah, everyone just keeps saying that, don't they?
Everyone keeps having a great run on blue swimmer crabs. So they're being targeted everywhere that you'd expect them to.
Metro going well.
Metro, Yorks, Port Lincoln, probably Kangaroo Island, but I don't know that for sure. So good fun for anybody who is out there getting around them. Of course, King George Whiting have been fishing reasonably well, and we're probably going through a bit of that transition now, aren't we? Sort of
Clifty
hot,
said in a
cold.
sport fishing scene on the way over that they've been getting them off sort of North Haven, St Kilda.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear, Diz.
Yeah. No, very good. And look, I think outside of that, there does seem to be some good reports of some offshore fishing from Coffins and Port Lincoln, but just not so much about the tuna, that they're a bit patchy. Sometimes they're firing, sometimes they're not. But our good friend of the show, Isaac, got 15 Sambos or something.
Yeah, that was the day before the comp, wasn't it? So they're going well. Samson fish and that, what's the charter called? Ash from Coffin Bay has been getting plenty of Samson fish. And some tuna over at Coffin Bay, but obviously that's outside the zone for the Port Lincoln Tuna Comp, Diz.
Yeah, it is.
And everywhere else, tuna's going slow, Diz. Still nothing on Yorks. I don't think anyone's caught them off the Flurio for quite a while now.
No.
And I know Tyson's packed up and gone back on Want to Fish back down to Port Mac, Diz. So that probably tells you that he thinks there's no tuna necessarily around that KI Flurio area.
Yeah, probably does tell you something there. I think you're right. And I think let's just hope that it's a good barrel season for them down there.
Certainly is, Diz, and that's a pretty comprehensive fishing report, particularly in the Port Lincoln Tuna Slam. Yep. And that's been a bumper episode.
Good stuff, Rody. Everyone knows where to find us. Of course, we're on everywhere that you'd get a podcast. Jump on, send us a voice memo. Give us a bit of feedback. Rody had the Rode microphone dialed in by the end of that. So if you're not happy with his work, then let us know.
See you guys.
Rody and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.